Have you ever stopped and wondered, when did life become so serious? Because somewhere along the way, I know I felt it for myself, and maybe you have too, that we've moved from being the curious, playful, light little girls and young women into responsible, productive, doing women. And it's something that I've been thinking about probably for the last year or so, especially as I've just continued to redesign and rebuild my life and truly step into the woman that I desire to become. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video, because this is a something that I've noticed about myself, and I haven't even really had this conversation with friends yet. So I'm having it with you. Because if you've been here with me, I'm doing this 100-day YouTube video journey. If you missed any of the videos, I've dropped the playlist in the description box if you want to catch up on any of the videos. But I've talked about how I've always been a creative since I was a child. And they are such fond memories that I always think back into, and they play a heavy role in my upbringing, in addition to the things around my upbringing, like being the eldest daughter and being responsible and having to be perfect. But me being like playful and curious and imaginative and creative, those things were all a part of my upbringing. And I just feel like as an adult, especially during my corporate leadership career, those parts of me definitely got broken away and left behind. And I just became very serious. Like everything just had to have a purpose, had to have a reason why everything had to be around productivity. Everything had to be around execution, like just very serious. Like even in like relationships and friendships, I felt like I was just very serious, like not really having the space or leaving the space to be light and playful and curious and creative in a way that was definitely a part of me, because it had been a part of me since I was a child. I feel like my creativity turned into me being efficient, and my curiosity turned into me being productive, and my playfulness or lightness turned into structure. Like everything had to have its place. And I get it. As an adult, we have to be serious. We have to be responsible. There's things that need to be done. However, as women, there are still, lightness about us and playfulness about us and creativity and curiosities about us that I feel like had left me, and it still has not truly integrated back into the woman that I am becoming. But again, that's why I'm having these types of conversations around ambition and capacity and rest and creativity, and embodying, like truly embodying these desires for yourself and the life that you desire for yourself. And I was just thinking, like, I wonder if other women are having the same question, like just when did life become so serious, and being able to pinpoint that moment and, look back over their lives to the parts of it that you might have felt, more playful or more light or more curious or more creative. And then just look at the way that responsibility is driving now, the way that execution is driving now, the way that doing is driving now, and just trying to figure out ways, especially if that's what you desire. It is what I desire, just to be a little bit more light and curious and playful while still making room for showing up as an adult and doing the things that we have to do. And I think the challenge with this is that we we lose these things, and then we don't understand how much of a role they play in our overall wellness and well-being. Because again, I had to learn the hard way. I had to go through extreme life altering career burnout, take nearly a 1 year sabbatical to figure out how much space, creativity, play, imagination, and really just not having everything planned so meticulously. I had to learn that only through me going through career burnout. And now that I'm on the other side of burnout, and I've definitely come a long way in regards to me being intentional about tapping into my creativity. I do so many things just for me, not to really produce anything. I have hobbies, but I don't call them hobbies. I call them care practices, actually creative rest practices. And those things do allow me to tap into play and curiosity, excuse me, and creativity. But I think there's still a little bit of lightness that I'm still looking for, like lightness in personality, or lightness in like just being a little bit more free in an aligned way, of course. And I find myself being in these moments, particularly when I'm with girlfriends who I feel comfortable around, how I can get, goofy or silly, or because I have friends be like, Erica, girl, you're so funny, you're so crazy. And that's just, having that safety with girl friendships or women friendships to feel like you can be free and feel like you can be yourself. I do have a few good girlfriends who I can fit, that I feel like I can be that way around. And to be honest, I don't really have a huge, friendship group, because I'm just an introvert by nature, and it just really takes me a long time to trust people. But I want to feel that freeness and lightness more. Like a few nights ago, I had some, open time in my evening schedule. And I thought about this thing because, when I'm consuming content, or, watching things on TV or reading books, it's all about me educating myself in some way, or trying to move my business forward in some way, or me learning about a new skill, or how I can use a new skill differently. But I turned on I sought out some old movies that I knew would just make me laugh. Cause I was I was in a mood to just, like, I don't know, feel light, feel free, and just laugh for the sake of laughing. So I watched Life, the movie with Martin and Eddie Murphy. I swear I've watched that movie probably 300 times since it came out. That is one of my favorite movies, but I know that's a movie that is definitely going to make me laugh, like just feel carefree in that moment, and how I can just regurgitate the words. Like so I watched Life. I ended up watching Something New, that movie with Sanaa Lathan, and I think Simon Baker is his name. And I think that's like a light movie too. It's almost like what I was describing, like her being this, corporate professional that's working up to be a partner in her firm, and just always being so tied up, so buttoned up, so structured, and then meeting this gentleman that just brought out a little bit more lightness and playfulness in her. So I watched that. And then I started watching a little bit of Clueless, because that movie is just so funny and silly. And then it was getting too late, so I went ahead and went to bed. But I want to intentionally seek out moments and be intentional about finding space for a little bit more lightness is what I'm going to call it, in a world and in a space where we have to be so serious. At the time that I'm recording this video, it's a lot going on in the world, and it can cause us to just fall into episodes of fear, of anxiety, of depression, of just thinking of the worst case scenarios. And that's understandable, again, especially with the things that we're experiencing in the world. But also, we only have this one life to live. So it's really about finding intentional moments to seek out opportunities for play, for lightness, for creativity, for curiosity, for imagination, and find those moments to really tap into. Let's see here. I was kind of free flowing and really didn't look at my notes too much here. Yeah, I have a note. So, and I understand too, like I said earlier, as adults, I understand we have to be responsible. We have to be serious about certain things. You know, we have our work responsibilities, our financial responsibilities, if you have family responsibilities, and all of those are serious matters. However, seriousness can become the default if we're not intentional. And I think that's what I'm coming around to, that we have to seek out intentional moments for play, to embrace a little bit of ease in our lives. And just for me, I want to be just a little bit more light, or find opportunities for lightness, because I can be, a serious person in my, my day to day life. Again, I've come a long way because I have a lot of care practices, both creative and rest practices, that I deeply indulge in. But I do want to find more opportunities for that. So this is something I've been thinking about lately. And like I said, not because being responsible isn't important, because I just feel like life isn't meant to feel heavy all the time, or meant to feel serious all the time. And I think we should just be more intentional about creating space for creativity and lightness and curiosity. So maybe adulthood doesn't have to mean abandoning the lighter parts of ourselves. It can just mean making space for them again. So my closing reflection today is, I'm sorry if y'all can hear that plane. It literally sounds like it's right over me. So the closing reflection is, when was the last time you felt light? You felt just a little bit carefree. You felt playful, curious, and creative. I want you to welcome more of that into your life the way that I'm welcoming it into mine. And again, I'm having these conversations over the next 100 days. I've dropped the playlist in the description box if you missed any of the conversations. And I'm Erica Prevail. I share daily conversations helping driven, purpose-led women rework their relationship with ambition, capacity, rest, and creativity. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.